year. And same thing with the Clippers. Speaking of the Clippers, they just fired Doc Rivers, and that was a ballsy move because obviously a lot of fans, you know how reactionary Monday, oh, he needs to get fired.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers lost 3-1, all this stuff. Um, but hey, they Ballmer does not care. He will swing for the fences, and he decided to fire Doc Rivers,
Hey,
and that
but
kind
they
of came a
hired
little
Ty
bit
Lue.
surprised to me. Yes,
Ty
and they
Lue,
hired Ty Lue to a
Ty Lue is one of
5-year
my
deal.
favorite coaches out there. I think he's really. He was one of the few coaches that LeBron ever had that like he just stood right up to LeBron and he was like, "I need more out of you." And like,
Oh, that's one thing I respect about Ty Lue is I couldn't stand him. I'm like,
oh,
man,
neither
this
could I.
guy is not saying anything to
Yeah,
LeBron. He's not doing anything. He's just hiding behind LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love. I'm not giving him no type of respect. But I've read a lot of stuff about how much he really impacted the team and who he was the only real coach to check LeBron. Obviously,
yeah,
Eric Spoelstra wasn't in that position at the time,
yeah.
so that was more of a Pat Riley who checked LeBron, and LeBron doesn't like being checked. I mean, we've seen it. He likes coaches that will kind of go with what
They'll
he
cater
wants.
to him. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll cater to him and whatever he wants to do. And Ty Lue's not that guy. I mean, he even got an interview with the Rockets, so I think it's a much better fit being on the
yeah,
Clippers. He was there last year. I think Kawhi really needs to kind of buckle down. And
yeah.
again, this is coming from someone that is Kawhi's one of my favorite players in the league, but he really shocked me this year. I even hearing rumors recently about how Montrezl Harrell, Lou Will, and Pat Bev all said that they're unhappy with the way Kawhi's approach was this year. How he was, being late to practices, skipping games, like,
He's
kind of
getting a
just
special treatment.
getting special treatment. And it's like you can't do that as a leader. I mean,
Nah.
say what you want about LeBron. He was never like that. I mean, Kobe's one of the toughest competitors ever. He's known. You see, every single former player has said he set the standard. They followed him. They
Mm-hmm.
weren't out here like, wow, Kobe's killing it in games, but he's not doing shit in practice. No, he was showing it in practice. So then in games, people are like, oh, okay, that's not surprising. He's literally killing
Yeah.
it every single day in practice. So I think that's really important that they got a guy like Ty Lue to kind of check those egos. And even with Paul George, I mean, man, he's I am not a Paul George fan. Let's just keep it at that.
I'm not either, but I'm trying not to overreact too much to this because it is a bubble and like that whole setting is so weird. Like I knew some players would fare well in that and some wouldn't. I definitely think though that Paul George is he has to have a better season next year. There's no way he's worse than he was in the playoffs this year. If he's worse than
Well,
that, I'd be done.
no, but that's a good point. Not surprisingly though, I would say not surprisingly, Ballmer. There are rumors from team executives that they want to get rid of. I don't know if who they want to get rid of, but they kind of want to blow the team up. And I don't know about all of that. I think you
You
should.
just gave up all those picks for Paul George. If you blow it up now and you don't have any picks really,
Man, that's tough. And I get it. They want to build someone else around Kawhi. I get it. There's rumors that Kawhi wants a point guard that just came out this past week. And I don't really know who's available besides Chris Paul. But I don't really see that happening. I mean, I
yeah,
don't know who they would get that's going to fill that role. That's going to really take them to that next level. I mean, we'll see. It's a tough position. I don't really know who the Clippers want to trade or go for at this point. But we've seen from Miami when they had LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, it took them 2 years to win a championship. And usually with these super teams, it takes them a while. We saw them with the Cavs too. In their first year they weren't able to win it. In the second year they came back 1-3-1, trailing 3-1. So I think it's just going to be a lot to do with how they handle, how Ty Lue handles the locker room. And one guy I really thought that would have helped that locker room that should have stayed there was Sam Cassell. I don't really know. I don't know what's going on with Sam Cassell, but they decided not to keep him. They actually, shockingly, I was shocked that Chauncey Billups is going to be Ty Lue's lead assistant. I think that's a much better route to go, comparing to, like, for example, the Nets who hired Steve Nash. I think that's a very risky move because you're hiring a guy who's played in the league, but he has had zero coaching experience. Chauncey, has wanted to be a front office guy, but I
Yeah.
guess he kind of moved on. He decided to be a coach, and now he's an assistant. And I don't really know how that works, but I'm definitely excited to see it. I think it's some nice entertainment